This is fragrance notes explained in a simple way, because let's be real, they do get pretty confusing at times, even if you know quite a few things about fragrances. So, fragrance notes are usually split into three categories or layers, if you will. The first one is top notes. These are the notes that you smell immediately after spraying the fragrance. These notes are usually something pretty sharp or fresh. Actually, more often than not, the top notes of a scent consist of both of these characteristics. Now, even though the top notes are probably the most memorable part of the fragrance for you, they actually fade away pretty quickly and become very light and almost unnoticeable. So if you really want to go to your nearby fragrance store and try a new scent, don't just spray it a little and then immediately make a decision. Bro, you gotta let it sit on your skin for, at least 30 minutes to know what the scent is actually gonna smell like for real. To be honest, I have some fragrances that smell literally horrible for the first 20 minutes after spraying, but once the top notes start to fade away, they actually become pretty amazing. Oh, and by the way, it is important to make crystal clear that even though a fragrance has, let's say, a rose note, there probably isn't any real rose in the scent itself, but rather a synthetic chemical that mimics the smell of a rose. Now, many people in the fragrance community are allergic to the word synthetic, but just trust me here when I say that with most notes, the synthetic note is much better than the real ingredient. Sometimes, though, they use the real ingredient, but most of the time, they don't. Notes are there just to tell you what the fragrance smells like, not what it's made of, you know? Anyway, now that we got all that out of the way, we have the middle notes. Some call these the heart notes, but you can call them whatever you want. Middle notes come after the top notes. Now, as I said about top notes, they only last a very short time. But middle notes stay with you for a bit longer than that. Now, I just said that the middle notes come after the top notes, but I kind of lied to you. They more overlap. The scent smoothly transitions into the middle notes from the top notes. You might not even realize that the top notes have already faded away. And as you now know, top notes are usually fresh, citrusy, sharp, but middle notes on the other hand usually are spicy. Things like cinnamon, floral, such as roses, or herbal, such as lavender. The middle notes usually last anywhere from 2 to 6 hours, of course depending on the longevity of the fragrance. And then the base notes of a scent, less surprisingly, make the base of the actual smell. Now, base notes are usually the heaviest, things like vanilla or woody notes. They are especially for untrained noses, and actually just to everyone in general. These are the notes that are the easiest to pick up. Base notes are the notes that last the longest, sometimes up to 12 hours, or even a couple days on clothes. But if there is anything to remember from this video, it should be to never buy a scent if you do not like the base notes. This is the easiest way to waste your money. And speaking of saving money, I've actually already gone and updated the clone spreadsheet. There are a bunch of new things over there, from new clones to new features. So, if you're interested in affordable alternatives to expensive perfumes, clonespreadsheet.com has got your back. Oh, and it is, of course, completely free. Now, one of my viewers actually pointed out and reminded me on one of my older videos that fragrance notes actually affect the longevity of the fragrance, meaning that certain smelling fragrances actually last longer than others, which is interesting. Because most of the time when people talk about longevity, they tend to only talk about concentration, which means how much of the actual fragrance oil is in there, like EDT or EDP. But then we of course have the question of which notes actually last long. Well, a good rule of thumb is that heavier notes, such as vanilla or woody notes, tend to last longer. And then on the flip side, lighter and fresher notes tend to last for a shorter amount of time. Now, after explaining all this, I don't want you to be the guy to say the most of this was bullcrap. But yeah, most of it is bullcrap for two main reasons. Just allow me to explain real quick. The first is that although the notes of a fragrance will give you a good picture of how it is going to smell like, you can only describe so much with notes. For example, when I blind bought my Zergoff Opera, I just took a look at the notes of it, thought that they looked good, and then just proceeded to order it without thinking of it too much. But when it arrived, it didn't smell anything like the notes. Okay, that might be a bit of an over-exaggeration. It did smell a little woody, a bit fruity, but it was in the worst way possible. The best way I can describe it is that it smelled like a grandma's living room. Now, just to clarify, this isn't the case with every fragrance. And most of the time, if you do take a good look at the notes and know what you like, you can get like 90% of the way there. Secondly, just so you know, everyone's nose is different. You might have a fragrance that has something like a lavender note in its middle notes. You personally can't smell the lavender in it, but someone else can. Literally, just a few weeks ago, I decided that I would try something different and wear my Venom in carton to work for the first time. Now, to me, it smells like a nice, pleasant vanilla strawberry with a leather base. Then, randomly, my coworker comes up and says that I smell like raspberries mixed with caramel. Yeah, that sounds nice, but I literally cannot smell any raspberry in this scent. Also, what different notes smell like change between brands. For example, the vanilla note in your cheaper designer fragrance can smell completely different when compared to, I don't know, let's say the vanilla in a Parfums de Marly scent. Yeah, PDMs are quite expensive, but my goodness do they smell good. So, the quality of the notes may vary. Just be sure to keep that in mind when comparing notes of different scents. And since you watched this video all the way until the end, I think you should watch another video of mine as well.